Remember in high school how in the yearbook they had this section where the whole class voted and gave people titles? Best hair, best car, most likely to become a Counter-Strike YouTuber. Who gets hot tar poured on them on camera while recording a video in June of 2024. Well, I sure hope that doesn't happen. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you thought that was lame as hell in high school and hated everyone. And that's why in this video, I made it cool, because it's related to Counter-Strike now. That's right, this is Counter-Strike Superlatives, where we take mundane things that are pretty common in CS and decide the best, or at least the most culturally impactful of them. Wait, I've got big news for you. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, the cheap and easy way to trade out your old skins for something fresh. You can use code PENGUIN on the site to get two things. First off, you get $5 after you complete your first trade with a maximum bonus if you spend $100 on the site. And secondly, you get a 5% bonus when adding balance to the site. Combined with the 30% deposit bonus SkinsMonkey offers already, that's an extra 35% for you to spend. Follow my link in the description or the pinned comment and start trading today. When you think of a Counter-Strike clip, you probably think of someone getting a crazy kill of some kind. So let's run down the list. For the most iconic ace of all time, there are really two options. First, we have the Happy Deagle ace on Banana, which is amazing in its own right. It won the Best Clip of the Decade competition for the entire 2010s, truly a moment in time. However, in my opinion, it doesn't win here. My pick for the best ace ever is the Chris J Wolf of Wall Street clutch to take Mouse to match point at ESL 1 New York 2018. This clip is unreal. The crowd definitely gives it a lot of its aura, as well as the incredible casting from Staticist, but still, you can't really beat an AWP clutch to take match point in one of the biggest events of the year. For 4Ks, we've got a pretty clear three-horse race. Snax's The Big Apple, clutch on Cobble, coldzera's Jumping Double, and Cadian's 1v4. You know, the
Cadian 1v4 with the P250.
The first of these three that I will rule out is the Snax clutch. It's an amazing clip and one of the best ever, but the cultural impact of the other two is just on another level. Truly, I think that the Cadian 1v4 and the coldzera Jumping Double are about on equal levels, but I'm gonna give the title to the Jumping Double for one simple reason. Cadian's 1v4 was done in an online event. You just can't replicate the feeling that a huge crowd going insane gives to a highlight. For a 3K, it gets a bit tougher because there really aren't many all-time great 3Ks. A few come to mind: the Snax,
and then he finished off the job.
Trigger Discipline on Mirage. Shroud on Cash is another one, the play that actually got that spot named Shroud. If you wanted to go with something newer, you could even pick the Twist's Outer Push on Navi from Cologne 2022 that kind of won them that event. And while my NA brain really wants to pick the Shroud CZ3K, I'm actually going to pick the Get Right Unwinnable 1v3. This clutch is really insane, and when rewatching them, it really stood out to me, because there's really no way this should even be remotely possible for him to win, and he somehow pulls it out of the hat, and that kind of just shows how great Get Right was in his time. We can pretend like there's an argument around the greatest 2K of all time, but I'd rather not waste your time. You know the one. He had one button on his mouse. This is not FPL simple, you know? You've heard it a million times, he's just that guy. This clutch is just unreal.
Simple, I don't know, man. If he just comes in with that,
It was a no-scope! He didn't even... We had one button on his mouse stand.
1K might be my personal favorite category because it's so versatile and there really isn't any kind of a consensus. There's the simple AWP decoy, which is just an unbelievable, hilarious clip. There's Kukli style, and then there's the Hiko inhuman reactions. And to be honest, there's probably a whole lot of other options that I completely forgot about. I personally lean Kukli style here because it's something that probably will only happen once in a pro game of its caliber. Also, Kukli style in and of itself is now a piece of terminology used in the game, so that gets it some points. Even though everyone is mispronouncing Kukli, it's actually pronounced Kaylee, but you know, we don't need to talk about that. You might think we're done with the kills category, but we're not actually. Murder fans, I've got good news for you, except not actually, because the last category is 0Ks. The 0K that will haunt this man for the rest of his career, Nico from Heaven in Stockholm 2021, the most iconic whiff of all time. Alright, it's time for a tone shift, switch the music, and do all that shit that I do in my YouTube videos, we're now finding the most iconic slash best slash it's my video, I get to do what I want of other integral parts of the game. Starting off easy with Bomb Plant and Defusal, I'm gonna give Bomb Plant to Sipex in Starladder Berlin 2019 for having the cognizance to realize that G2 would simply not defuse the bomb once he had planted it. It's kind of insane that this happened, especially considering how experienced the members of G2 were at this point. For Defusal, it's pretty obviously the Olaf Meister burning defuse. I just really can't think of anything else that really comes close. Speaking of burning, let's talk utility. The most iconic single piece of utility is definitely the Doja Nade, although I'll give an honorable mention to the Fnatic Sit and Burn clip. I'll say that the Doja Nade is probably also the most iconic save of all time, unless you count like Jame as a person. If we want to talk about a full site execute, I think that the abstract concept of an A exec on Mirage wins. You will see these smokes everywhere from a matchmaking game to the grand final of a major. Maybe it's just because Mirage has been in the game for so long and has barely changed. Even the bottom feeders of Counter-Strike have picked up some semblance of strategy there. While we're talking about utility, I should mention that my pick for the most culturally impactful self-kill is going to be Summit 1G on Train. I also give him the award for least relevant player to have an iconic Counter-Strike clip. Not that he as a person is relevant, of course, obviously he's a huge streamer, but as a Counter-Strike professional, this is like his only claim to fame, and that's awesome. Let's get a bit more abstract now and stop talking about things in the game, but rather things kind of adjacent to the game, you know, skins, stickers, music, etc. For skin, it's the dragon lore pretty handily. There's an argument for AK Case Hardened Scar pattern, but I think for the average player, the dragon lore's simplicity is what makes it more of an icon. My pick for sticker is absolutely the Titan Hollow. I think it edges out IBP. My personal favorite from the Kato stickers is probably Reason or Dignitas though, there's just something sick about him. The most iconic Counter-Strike adjacent song. If we're talking music kit, I'd say Easy Friends, which I just recently learned is actually pretty disliked by Finns, which surprised me. I think my pick will be the CSGO main menu music though, just because there's nothing quite like opening up the game for the first time and just hearing this blaring through your speakers. Oh yeah, that gets the veins pumping, ready for some fucking Counter-Strike, baby. I'd give the most iconic map ever to Dust 2, obviously, and the most iconic community inclusion from CSGO onwards is definitely Cash. Anubis is making gains, though. The most iconic tournament win of all time is definitely Cloud9 at E-League Boston 2018. I'm still living off of that today. Like, I rewatch the overtime rounds at least multiple times a year. For most iconic map in its entirety, I almost picked that third map from E-League Boston, but then I thought about the question from a wider angle and realized that the true answer is that the most iconic full map of Counter-Strike ever is without a doubt another North American classic, iBuyPower versus Team Netcode Guides on Season. Yeah, this is sick as hell, actually. The IBP scandal is pretty known even outside of Counter-Strike, so even though it is a blemish, it is a required inclusion. Also, I think the yearbook was a little bit wrong. I don't think this is hot tar, I think this is asphalt. But I can't really tell, because I can't really feel anything right now. If you want more tar content, subscribe to my second channel, Penguin for Change, linked in the description. Why? What is this script, man? I don't want to do this. Let's get extremely meta for a second. What is the most iconic Counter-Strike video of all time? My mind immediately goes to Foon Too Much for Z-Block, but then I remembered that Doorstuck exists. Realistically, it probably is Doorstuck, but I like Foon Too Much for Z-Block a lot more. This might be too soon, but I also think that the CS2 interactive Smokes video from Valve last year has an actual shot. That video blew my mind when I first watched it. That was a moment in Counter-Strike history. All in all, making and writing this video was a walk down memory lane for me. I don't know if you can tell, but I love Counter-Strike. This was a hell of a lot of fun. If you disagree with me, you can talk your talk in the comments. I won't care, but please be my guest. This is the 100% correct list of Counter-Strike superlatives. There is definitely room for a sequel video, as I really didn't get into specifics about players, so if you want that, please tell me. And I hope you all enjoyed. This was a bit of a cozier one. I had a lot of fun making it, and I will see you next time. Thank you.